we'll change the slides, and we'll try and change the slides at the same time on the Zoom presentation. So bear with us for 1 minute. The presentation will be in English for our audiences overseas, our partners overseas, and those listening in. And I think we can start. Maya, next slide. All right, next slide. Next slide. So, look, well, first of all, we've mentioned it, but it's important to say again, just to say thank you to all those who basically enabled it. First and foremost, the Secret World War II network, which you can see the emblem over here, strikingly similar to some other emblems you may have seen them. Of course, Azio and Amutata Agana. The man in the picture over here, that is Captain Major John Tonkin. And all the pictures that you saw inside are courtesy of his daughter Jane Story from Australia. Sponsors are many, as you can see, not only the council, the regional council, but we have representation from the embassy as well, so-called, but the UK is enough. Of course, Minister of Foreign Affairs, have many people. I think everybody understands just how important it is. And IDF is supporting as well, not only the spokesperson. And the Malam, those who know, it's the Merkaz Mורשת, the intelligence community heritage as well. So many people pitched in to help make this happen, and it has been very successful up to now. We can only spoil it from now. Next slide, please. So I'd just like to mention that this is one of many sites of special UK-Israel heritage in the north. Specifically in the north, because the area of Haifa was very, very important to the British in World War II, not only because of the petroleum pipeline to the Gulf, but because around Haifa there was a very important industry, but also the harbor was extremely important. And so around Haifa, we don't have time, but around Haifa, many secret establishments were put together from the early 40s, from 1940 onwards. Some of them we even know today, like Athlete, which was used also by the Special Operations Executive for paramilitary training, and then by SAS/SBS. And today we know it's used by Flotilla 13 of Israel. So everybody, obviously naval commanders, understand what good location is. In the Carmel itself in Haifa, a few years ago, we were very lucky to have the UK ambassador at a function there, because the Beit Sefer Ariali on the Carmel was one of the establishments used by SOE in Haifa, and also Stella Maris Monastery. Ramat David was parachute training. You hear about that from Jack in a second, not far from here. And of course, we are at Achziv, where there was the raiding headquarters, but also the SAS/SRS here as well. And Jack will also say that as the SBS, he was also here some of the time. There are many others, and basically it's a full trail. But it's important to understand that many of these establishments were then adopted by the IDF and all the intelligence services of the new Israeli company, the new Israeli estate. Next slide, please. So just about what we're doing, it's about commemoration and education, and these are the things that Ambassador Gunn mentioned about the very important ceremony held every year for the 23+1, 24 of the Tripoli operation, Boswain. You can see our previous ambassador, there's Paul behind him, looking very serious. And this was you can see over there, our current defense attaché, Israeli defense attaché out there. So it's very, very important, and as you can see, it's very, very robust. Next slide, please. So basically, we're talking about this, what the British called us, the Friends, the code for the Hagana cooperation from early 1940 all the way till about 43. It stopped in 43 with the SO because we stole the weapons. They got cross with us and they stopped cooperating with us. We tend to annoy some of our partners sometimes, even today. But yeah, it was a bit of a joke. At least I tried. But so you can see, as Aviram mentioned as well, you can see basically the story of Seyret Matkal and SAS/SRS. Next slide, please. So this is the story of the SAS, the Special Raiding Squadron, that we are now at the training base. At the end of the campaign in North Africa, the commander, the founder of the SAS, Sterling, he was captured by the Germans. They didn't have a commander. They'd also finished the mission in North Africa. And like every institution, I'm sure they were looking around for a new mission and a new something, a reason for being. And they were basically reorganized in this area The naval portion, the SBS Special Boat Squadron, was at Atlit. The headquarters of the raiding headquarters was down on the coast over here. Those who have had a chance, there's the old railway siding there. British military opened that railway line in 42. By the way, dug by South African and New Zealand engineers, if I remember, but it may have been Australians. No, because the accent's very close, I get confused. But yeah, this is where the Special Raiding Squadron, you saw the pictures as well. They were here for nearly 6 months, preparing themselves for operations. They were visited by generals such as General Maitland Wilson, Commander of Middle Eastern Forces. Fortunately, we don't have pictures, but we do have the information that Paul found in the logs. And from here, they went to a final operation. One, they did a coastal operation, a training in Cyprus. They attacked coastal batteries. That was the mission for the opening phase of Husky, the invasion into Sicily, the opening phase of returning to occupied Europe through the south, what Churchill called the weak belly. But they also did a very interesting amphibious exercise at Aqaba, what we know as Eilat. We have really good pictures of that as well. And from there, they basically were moved via boat through the Suez Canal, Eastern Med, all the way to Sicily. We're very successful in the operation. I'll show you some pictures. Paul was in Sicily a couple of months ago, so he did that war trail, and we have some pictures of what it was in 43, what it's like today. Turns out that the Italians are less on upkeep of heritage, but the buildings are still there. And at the end, in December 43, after they'd finished a series of missions, very, very difficult missions in Italy, southern Italy, they were sent back to the UK to re-establish themselves, to reconstitute the force. And the SAS then performed various missions behind enemy lines, following the invasion of France, following the D-Day invasion of Normandy. And Paul wrote books about, at least one book that I know. I think he's got much more, but that's very interesting as well. So that's their story. And we say basically that Gesher Azib in many ways was a springboard for the return to Europe, to occupied Europe. And I think Gesher Azib can be very proud of that. It's also quite catchy for those who like that kind of thing. Next slide, please. We knew that there was a base here. It had been written about in books, but nobody was quite sure where it was. Paul went to Australia maybe a year ago now, maybe a little bit more, and he met Miss Story, and she showed him the album, her father's album that he'd taken pictures during the war. And one of the pictures that Paul sent me, you can see the original here. It's also been printed. It's in the room, in the hall, in the gallery. We looked at the picture, and you can see in the background there's a tower. We also have maps, of course. The ground hasn't changed much since the British were here. Many things have changed, but that hasn't changed. And that tower is the Naharia Water Tower, built in 36. It hasn't moved, by the way. It's now also sort of a gallery, which they use for art and things in Naharia. And this is a very simple exercise, which once you have this place, you have a map, and you know exactly sort of where you are. You can re-triangulate. So we knew it was somewhere here. Paul was in Israel. We were looking at different sites, and we tried to find the site. And we met Ms. Shaili from the council, and she said, let's think about that. And so then we hooked up to Eitan, because the kibbutz said we're interested in doing something with heritage-wise. And the minute I came up the road, even though I saw the buildings, I said it had to be here. And so next slide, please. So we then compared the aerial photography that Eitan's had from your father, right? And we compared it to the maps that we had, to the pictures we had. This, by the way, is the railway siding. That's Paul out there, just down here on Achziv. And it was very easy. It's not a very complicated thing to do if you have good photography, good maps, and you're in the ground itself. So we understood where the area was. Next slide, please. And from there, it was very simple just to say where everything is. We tried to make it easy. So there's a tent. You can see the tents in the photography. You can see the basic area where this picture was taken by Captain Tonkin. You can see Naharia, as I showed you before. Next slide, please. And we also compared the buildings, used the pictures that the kibbutz had. The kibbutz are taking pictures in 49 when they came here. And some of them still had the English writings, like the mess hall and things like that, which is very typical for British bases. So it was not very difficult to compare these pictures that the kibbutz had to the aerial photography from 46, which was when the base was basically being taken down. And then we had a picture in a book by McKellen from 2006, where you see the mortar platoon taking one of these pictures, one of these buildings. It's this one or another one on the other side. So we knew we were here, but that wasn't enough. The next thing was that Paul and I think Ambassador Gunn were, or at least Paul for sure, but maybe the ambassador as well, had met Jack for lunch or something. And they were speaking about this Gesher Aziv thing. And the story that I'm told is that Jack said, why didn't you ask? Of course it was Gesher Aziv, and you'll hear about that in a second. And I was there, I was based there for some time. Next slide, please. So for now, we're pretty sure this is the place. The tents were over there. We have the photography. We have also the ground. We have a pretty good verification of site. We also have Jack's testimony. These are pictures. Not all were taken by then Captain, later Major Tonkin, but you can see some of them. This is taken by Captain Tonkin. You can see the tents in the background, and you can see these pictures were taken by staff of troops. They were then, like today, divided into troops. Again, the mortar platoon. This is them doing rappelling or cliff climbing exercises before the invasion of Sicily at Rosh Nikra. You can see the railway tracks at the bottom. As you know, the railway line is there, but it's not going anywhere. This is a lovely picture of them on leave in Tel Aviv. And then that's a really great picture over there with the paddy wagon, or the the German armored half-track. And it's put near a window here inside the hall. If you look out the window, you can see in the back, over here, that's Hanita. And if you look out the window, you'll see Hanita. The picture wasn't taken in this building. It was taken at the coast. But that makes it even more definite that it was taken over here at the driver's seat, although apparently he's in trouble because that vehicle stuck in sand. Is Major Paddy Main, the commander of the SAS. And the last picture over there, which was taken over here by then Captain Tonkin, is them standing on a Jeep cover. You can see the camera and all that. So it was really, you can see they were working very hard here, doing a lot of training and all that, but they also had time for other things as well, which is always a sign of a really good unit and a very good high morale. That's a lovely picture of then Major Paddy Main with the dog, his dog. You can see the sunglasses, rather snazzy. I'm sure they're soon to come back. But you can see that very, very tough unit. And he wasn't a very young man at that time, by the way, compared to what people think. But obviously very well seasoned. He was a rugby player, so I'm sure he was very, very tough. Next slide, please. This is them doing the training in the Gulf of Aqaba. There's also documentation that they did take part. Jack will mention that in a second as well in his interview, but you can see they are called Special Service Troops because they had different names. We know it as SRS, SAS, or SDS, or whatever, but of course they're different. You can see in this picture, the emblem over here on the beret is the SAS one of today as well. And that's in training for the amphibious training. That's the way they launched the raid, the capture of the coastal batteries in Sicily. Next slide, please. So this is a map that they used that Paul brought back from Australia, I believe. Hopefully I did not get it wrong, but you can see this is a map they used then. This is an aerial photography before the invasion, and this is what it looks like on Google today. The sites are still there. The bases of the coastal batteries are still there. This is Montgomery talking to them before. And the next slide. So you can see this was the headquarters of the coastal battery. That's what it looks like today. That's what it looked like in 43 after they were very successful. And this is them after they'd finished the operations around Sicily. They came back. They were given time to go over what they had done there. And obviously they had time to joke around a bit as well. But that's what it looked like then, and that's what it looks like today. Just the base, all the guns, of course, have been taken away, which makes a lot of sense. Nearly finished. Next slide. So this is the inside. This is the way the renovation done by Eitan and the members of the kibbutz. You can see what it was like, no roof and all that, compared to the pictures the kibbutz are taken in 49, 50 odd, which of course is very important. That building over here. That's a bunker, ammunition bunker. It's down over there. Don't worry, it is empty. But that makes a very good case, of course, for the depot itself. It's at a distance, a safe distance. I'm pretty sure the IDF used the same safety distances today as well for ammunition. Next slide. So we have about 10 minutes of a very, very interesting interview done by Mr. Paul McHugh with Mr. Jack Mann. Zuckerman, he would basically tell the story much better than I have.